What if your fertility journey isn't just about hormones and statistics, but about connecting with the spirit of your future baby? Today's guest bridges the gap between cutting edge science and spiritual wisdom to help women rewrite their conception stories from the inside out. Care. Lindsay Goodwin is a trusted pioneer authority in reproductive medicine and fertility support. She's a licensed health provider and board certified herbalist, certified in hypnotherapy, NLP, trauma healing, and a trained medical intuitive. Lindsay is a certified fellow of the Acupuncture and TCM Board for Reproductive Medicine. Lindsay additionally specializes in energetic and spiritual fertility. Her approach is designed to help women and couples awaken their inner resilience, tap into their energetic alignment, and master their fertility success and life journeys. Welcome, Lindsay. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me today, Rose. I'm excited to be here.
And I'm excited for this topic of conversation. This is wonderful. So let's just start off by telling the audience about yourself and kind of your journey to how you got to first becoming a doctor of holistic medicine and then what led you to be more focused on the work of integrating um, your work and energy medicine as well.
Absolutely. Well, I have to start off with the very beginning of that. I was born intuitive. I'm an intuitive medium, or some people might refer to as psychic medium. But I say intuitive medium. It's more comfortable, aligns more with me. And I've been seeing spirits and feeling energy and really being able to, I guess, hear people's thoughts and really what was going on with them in their bodies. I'm also a medical intuitive, which leads into being a holistic provider and really the physical side of medicine and understanding that, but also the intuitive side of really what's going on in our physical bodies. And so I was born into this world like this, and it just has been a progression of unfolding through lots of spiritual awakenings, and one being a near-death experience. I also had a stalking experience that was a criminal stalking case. There's been a lot of things that have happened where the universe has really pushed me to get back into alignment of what my purpose is and really helping people here to find their truth and power within, not only with their physical health, but with their energy. And that's really what drives our physical health anyway. So really about me, I just have such a drive to help, to awaken people that I'm here to awaken, help them find their power within, like I stated. And so that's really what drives me. You know, people often ask, well, what do you like to do? Well, I like to figure out different ways to continue helping people and really how that fits into the cosmos and the universe. So that's kind of in a nutshell, just about, you know, why I'm the way that I am. And then also as far as a holistic provider, doctor of Chinese medicine, I worked in corporate for many years and I felt like my soul was caged. It just didn't feel like I could just do the whole, you know, business talk and the fake conversations, and I just can't do it. I run on my own time and really do my own thing and very unique in what I do, and it just didn't fit. So, but it helped me. It helped me to understand business, and I worked in creative and advertising as well as publishing, real estate, technology. And then in 2008, when the financial crisis had happened, I was laid off from my job in publishing. And after that, I decided that it was time to make a huge change. And I enrolled in a master's program for Chinese medicine. And that's where it kind of like was the opening of me learning more about integrating the science with the spirit. And that's where we are today. And I also had a near-death experience I mentioned in 2017, and I had an out-of-body experience when that happened. And I call it God. You can call it universe, source, whatever feels comfortable for you. And it was this experience where I experienced this gold light that was radiating everyone in the room, including the gunman that had a gun to my back. And I was levitating above my body and was really seeing the whole thing from a different perspective. And it was very peaceful, but scary at the same time. And so that really woke me up. And after that is when I really started getting much more in depth with my messaging, communicating with higher vibrational beings like angels, energy collectives, as well as extraterrestrial beings and spirit babies. And I know we're going to talk about spirit babies today. And so that is just where it all stemmed from in a long progression. But yeah, giving you
Wow.
some background story there.
So let's focus a little bit on the fertility work that you do, because I believe from a conversation we had, you just mentioned it as well, from this experience that you had, were guided to work with spirit babies, or you started to see spirit babies. Can you
Yeah.
talk about that?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I started as an acupuncturist and doctor of Chinese medicine and fertility and women's health.
Mm.
So I was experiencing spirit. I mean, like I'd stated well before, I had had the near death experience before I really knew what spirit babies were. But I didn't understand what was going on. It was like I would get these glimpses of things. I'm like, how do I tell my patient that? Like, that's just crazy. I'm going to tell them I'm communicating with their spirit of their child. Like I stated, I didn't know what spirit babies really were, but I was seeing and feeling things like orbs, like light balls of energy, what I call sparkles. So I was seeing these glimpses of these children and didn't really know that that's really what it was at the time. But then also started to realize that something was going on, but didn't really know how to articulate and communicate that because I wasn't quite ready to come out to the world quite yet, that I was an intuitive medium. It does run in my family, and my grandmother actually was put into mental institutions when she was younger, just because she was very aware of things. And my mom was very scared. My mom's also a psychic medium, was very scared of letting her gifts out as well. I guess I don't really like the word gift, but ability gifts, because I feel like we're all
Mm.
gifted. That's why I say that. So abilities, and my mom is an interesting medium because she actually will see spirits in front of her when she sleeps, and will have sleep paralysis and really crazy, like scary things. And I've never been that sort of medium. It's more of that I get these thought forms, or I'll see like orbs of energy or sparkles. I don't really want to be that kind of medium that sees the spirits in front of me. No, thank you. So they're more like in my third eye when I communicate with spirit babies, or it will be through my heart or through my body, because I'm also an empath. And so that's how I get messages. I have dreams of them as well. But so after this near death experience, I really started to get these messages that were much more in depth. I was having these very vivid dreams where what I call these spirit baby keepers of the spirit baby realm, they were more adult looking, were coming to me in dreams and communicating with me that I needed to start taking ownership in my human form of what I'm here for as a messenger, from spirit babies. And then I understood the physical body and understood reproductive medicine and really how to help the people I'm here helping to be able to find solutions, not only in their physical body, but also understanding how to get solutions with communication with their spirit baby and what their spirit baby needs. And so I didn't really know when I was getting these dreams and these spirit baby guides were coming to me, like what I was going to do with it. And then I even asked, I said, what the heck do I do with all this information? I'm getting all these messages before you're coming in my dreams. Now you're coming in my dreams. I'm getting all these messages. I don't know what to do with any of this. So I asked Spirit, you have to tell me what to do. So within a few months, my mentor actually showed up, and I had forgotten that I had signed up for her email list, and she wasn't seeing clients one-on-one and in group settings at the time. She was full. And then I get this message from her assistant that said, "Hey Lindsay, you're on, I'm not going to say her name, but you're on the email list, and we want to know if you want to join." I'm like, I just like 2 months ago asked Spirit to give me a sign, and here she is. So that was the movement into learning more about really what this was and how I was going to use it. I needed a mentor because I didn't really know, what I was going to, like, how I was going to use this. I knew I was getting messages, but what does it mean? Like, how do I help these kids come into the world? And so that's just, it again, like my story, it was like a progression of it unfolding, but that's
Right.
really how I became to be a spirit baby medium.
So how does it work? I'm curious now. Like, how does it work? So people who are trying to have babies maybe go through some traditional routes, or maybe you're supplementing that route, right? Or
Mhm.
maybe they're just going along, and there's no extra fertility assistance that they're using, but they also come to you for acupuncture. So how does this work that you receive messages from their spirit baby and you help them to connect with that spirit baby as well?
Yes, yes, absolutely. It's interesting. People often ask, "How do you do this?" And I don't really have all the answers. It just comes to me. And so when I work with someone, I get messages from from their spirit baby, but it also could be from a spirit guide. It could be from their
Right.
higher self, and really about how to guide them. And I'm also an expert in the subconscious mind, so I work with people also in limiting beliefs and NLP, neuro linguistic programming. So really figuring out how to reframe. And when we come from a perspective of the subconscious mind, scientific, it's psychology, that our body actually starts responding. So the hormones start responding. So there could be something that's what makes me really unique is I understand both sides of this. So there could be something a spirit baby will come through and say, hey, look, you need to let my mom know that her and my dad or partner, whoever it is, that they're not connecting. So we need to figure out a way to heal that and what's going on there so that then I feel like I'm coming into a place of peace and a place of evolved sort of relationship and home. And it's not that anyone's doing anything wrong. It's just that there's evolving that needs to happen. And these kids, they're new earth kids. Essentially, they're creating a different earth for us that they want to experience something different than what we experienced. And so our generations, we're really working more on the trauma of the lower chakras. If we think about the chakras, which I am sure that your listeners know all about the
Yep.
chakras, that the lower chakras are really going to be more about that trauma ancestral work, whereas these kids that are coming in now, they're really in the upper chakras, so more in like the throat and the third eye and the crown chakra. So they're very evolved, and we even see it when we think of astrology. I won't get too much in astrology, but in the age of Aquarius is all about the massive movement through AI, through technology, through higher minds. And so these children coming in, that's how they're programmed. So they need parents that at least understand to some level of this higher sort of mind of thinking, and they're not in their lower chakras trying to work on the trauma work. So I can't say that everybody on this earth is like that, but my clients
Yeah.
are here for that.
People that are having children, they may be working and healing their own personal traumas, and they need to get guided, become guided through that, and work on unblocking some of that energy, which you can help them with through acupuncture and some of the energy work that you do,
Hmm.
right? To prepare their bodies and their personal spirit to receive these babies and
Hmm.
bring these babies into the world. And I think that's fascinating. It's just fascinating to me because you're the first person I've ever spoken to that does this, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Like, wow, it's like I wish I knew you when I was having children, but I think mine are like new Earth kids anyway.
Yeah.
So I came to that conclusion a long time ago, even before I even heard this term. But let's talk about these new Earth kids that are coming in, and you're saying that they're of a higher dimension, higher mind, like the age of Aquarius, right? So they're coming to this earth to make a real huge and fast difference.
Right. Yeah.
Mm. Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, because we're evolving, and I know that before we got on the show today that we were talking about the different dimensions that people
Hmm.
hear about, 3D and 4D and 5D. And so those are actually just levels of consciousness. They're not really places that you go. It's just a different level of, I guess, thinking, evolution. And so these children, they're going to be more in the 5D. They're not, and even higher, I believe there's 13 dimensions. There could be more. A lot of people say 12. I just have my own beliefs. I believe there's 13. And so, but it's not you that you go anywhere. It's what you're experiencing. So
Hmm.
someone, at a 3D level of thinking or even 4D, it's kind of like 4D is kind of like the place that you're evolved, but you're still kind of flip-flopping back and forth. And so once you get to 5D, it's all about oneness. It's all about, that higher thinking that, you're not separate from source, that you no longer focus on how much money's in your bank account, or, that the power is outside of you, And so these children coming in, they're coded to know that. They're coded to know that we are evolving. And as humans, we're evolving because here's the thing in the universe, like we can't stay the same. Nothing ever stays the same.
Right.
Yeah, everything is always changing. And so society tries to, it's a system. It's a system of trying to keep everything the same because it's control operation. And so you can't stop the universe. You just can't. I know there's humans that think that they can. And I won't get into conspiracy theory stuff, but like you just can't, because
Yeah.
all of us are these infinite creators. And once you awaken that and you know that, and people like us, Rose, that are here shaking shit up, I'm going to say that like we're dangerous because we're here, we're dangerous to the system. We're
Right.
here saying to people that, hey, there's a lot more to this than what you've been led
Yeah.
to believe. And once people awaken that within, they're unstoppable. You can't control them anymore.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the path that I'm on. And that's what these children are coming in here to do is to wake up more people, including their parents.
Yeah. Yeah. People are stuck in that third dimension
Yeah.
and they need to move out of it. You say you work with people to help them shift through this consciousness, right?
Yeah.
Of becoming unstuck. What are some signs that a person, like you were saying, like, people that want to keep everything the same? Like, what are some other signs that a person can say, oh, wait, maybe I'm stuck in my ways, in my thought pattern, in my consciousness, and I want to move ahead. How can they start moving ahead? Like, what are some like simple steps the person can take? Because we it can be overwhelming to be on this journey of we've moved through. I'm aware of this, how I move through this consciousness. So there could be some patterns or some steps someone can take.
Yeah. I think the biggest one is stop watching the news.
Bingo.
Stop consuming fake stuff,
Yeah.
Even like social media, we have to be so careful of because we think, oh, well, somebody has a lot of followers and so and so likes, that person and you have to use your discernment.
Uh,
You have to use your intuition and really developing that. And I help people develop that as well. And trusting yourself that, well, just because that works for someone else doesn't mean that that works for me, that's really powerful stuff. So that would be the first thing, as I would say, listen to your discernment, stop consuming things that don't feel like they align with you, no matter who likes it. If it doesn't align with you, it doesn't align with you. That's all good. Listen to yourself. As well as, trying to, I think if we come from a physical perspective, trying to clean up your diet.
yeah.
Things that are genetically modified, seed oils, lots of sugar, things that can really weight us down, eating fresh foods. There's people that believe in organic, there's people that don't. I think the United States, my opinion is the United States, because food is so toxic, that we really organic is something that in the United States that's good for us to focus on if we can, on trying to buy organic. But if you live in like Spain or something like that, organic is not really a thing, because
Right.
the food is much different. So I'm not going to say that we got to focus on diet so much that you're getting obsessive over it, because that is a subconscious block in itself, the A-type personality obsession. So that's something that is about evolving and growing too, moving out of that. So, but just do the best you can is usually what I tell people. So that would be a couple of things. Trying meditation, it does take about 20 minutes to really get yourself into a deep state where you start having that transcendental moment. But people need to work up to that. It could be that maybe you start with 5 minutes and then you move to 10 minutes and then it's
Yeah.
15 minutes and then it's 20 minutes. So really going within for the answers and cutting people out that don't accept you. Who cares who they are? I don't care if it's your family, if it's your best friend you've had for 22 years, if it's your boss, maybe leave your job if it's not good for you. These are all things that we can do, just even simple changes that, well, some of those are probably going to be a lot. Like quit your job, change your diet, cut people
But
out.
but you can start at least creating an intention to do that doesn't mean you have to quit tomorrow. So you talk about, I know you work with energy. Talk about that energy and how to notice blocks of energy within ourselves.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, it's like Einstein said, if we keep doing the same thing over and over again, that's the meaning of insanity if we're expecting different results. So if you're noticing that you're stagnant, you really, are trying to manifest something into your reality, you're feeling like a change needs to happen, but nothing is happening. It's because something significant needs to change. And it's probably the thing that you're most afraid of. So that's really that's a good significant sort of way to tell, like if my energy's blocked, is if things are not changing. Now, I'm not saying that that we're not supposed to be patient with things, okay? Because sometimes things take time to manifest in the physical reality because we are in a physical reality. So it's not that it's not there, it's just you don't quite see it yet. And I'll tell you a story. I had a client recently that she really wanted to leave her job and she found the most perfect job. And then when she got that job, she got the offer for it, she didn't want it. And she asked me, she said, Lindsay, why in the heck do I not want this? I said, because when you wanted that a year ago, this job, you were in a different place in your energy. So now it's shown up because it wasn't that it wasn't there before. It was just that you weren't ready to fully see it. So things aren't, it's not that they're not there. It's just that we need to be able to be at the level to be able to actually physically see it. Okay. So that's why when the universe is giving you signals like this needs to change, oh, my body doesn't feel good, or I'm not sleeping well, or this relationship is like dead end. Like everything I do, I feel like it's just draining me. Well, it's time to make a change.
Yeah.
And that's one way to really be able to tell. As far as energy, I like to think of like the analogy, I use fertility a lot because I do specialize in fertility, but also even if you're not someone looking to get pregnant, that just think about the massive miracle that each and every one of us is. If science has even proven now through an embryo, like through IVF, that when the sperm and the egg meet, that there's an electrical charge. Okay. So, like, if we're not all energy, then why are we seeing that at the very beginning of when we start to become growing into this human form? So, why is it that we're not taught more about energy, that everything in our body is energy? Every cell, every atom, every molecule, everything everywhere is energy. Even the table that I'm sitting at, it's energy because at one time it was a tree or if it's
Mm.
press wood, so it's IKEA. So, like it was something that was part of wood, part of a
Mm.
tree. So it's cells that are spun together to create a physical object. And that's really what we are. And we see that in quantum physics. Like
Yeah.
so much of the stuff that, I'm not a fan of the woo woo because at one time, like people thought woo woo and they thought, well, that's just so far fetched. It's not far fetched anymore. I'm not interested in coming across to people. I'm all about the integration of science and spirit, which is exactly what quantum physics is now proving that New Age people have been talking about
Yeah.
for a long time. So this is not far fetched stuff. We have proof that this stuff is existing, but the unseen, the unseen is energy, and 90, probably 99999%, whatever, to infinity is going to be the unseen. So much of it you cannot see. So you have to trust.
Yeah.
You have to
And it's
trust your journey.
and you have to start recognizing the energy within yourself. And you talk about like that whole awakening, the power within yourself, and that power is that energy that you have, right? Start with yourself and recognizing when you feel out of sorts. You were talking before about, I don't remember exactly, but I had a thought about not forcing something either. Recognizing opportunities that show up for you at the right moment, but also not forcing something that you feel you like. For example, maybe I feel because everyone else is doing it, I should do something, but in my own body, I feel, well, it's not right yet. I shouldn't do it yet. Or my
Yeah.
intuition saying it's not the right time, and trust that versus doing it because everybody else is doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you got to listen to your own self.
And you talked about spirit babies coming in and saying, a person has to heal. How do you recognize when one of your patients is experiencing or had experienced some trauma in their life and they need to heal from that? Is it a conversation that you have with them? Is it like an intuitive guidance that you receive? because you have so many of these tools also. I mean, you can read a person without them even speaking to you, right?
Yeah. Oh,
And
absolutely.
a lot of us have experienced some type of trauma, whether it's physical or emotional, or spiritual trauma in their life. And it's a good idea to help heal that before we have babies. People have
Yeah.
babies.
Absolutely. And the important thing to note, I always like to start off with this. We're not doing anything wrong. It's not pointing the finger that you're not enough. You got to change all these things and go in this overhaul. I mean, it might be that. There might be some things you really got to change. But there could be people possibly listening to this or might know someone that's been on a long fertility journey. I never want to send the message that you're not good enough and you need to like have this crazy, change because you haven't been doing things right. And it's not about that.
Right.
Your fertility journey is a self-discovery journey. And that's one thing that I get from the spirit babies is that it's about evolving. They love you so much that they are going to make sure that you're exactly where you want it to be in your journey for your evolving. Okay. So it's coming from a place of love. It's not coming from a place of reprimand or that you're not good enough or you don't deserve this or anything like that. Those are exactly the thoughts that could be holding it back
Yeah.
from happening that need to be healed. So how do I identify what's going on? So if someone's coming to see me for Chinese medicine and acupuncture, well, I integrate those tools. So we can look at things like meridians. You get acupuncture, so you understand some of this. I start to see things as medical intuitive. I can see what's going on. Then I start using Chinese medicine to be able to link things up to organ theory and really what's going on in the body. So that could be a connection there. Then I also use things like astrology, numerology, human design. And so I'm asking a lot of questions. What's your moon phase? When were you born? What was your new moon phase when you were born? What time were you born? What's your human design? What's your astrology? What's your numerology? So I start looking at all those things. So adding all that stuff in there. And really what I'm creating is a blueprint for the person. Not only what's going on physically in their world at that particular time, but also how are you designed? How did you design this journey for yourself? So then let's look at, what you can start to see what sort of trauma someone has experienced just based on what their astrology is,
Yeah.
what
True.
their numerology is. Yeah, like what they set themselves up for. And some people don't like it when I say that because they think, well, why would I do this to myself? I don't know. You wanted to experience something. I mean, I do know.
Right.
I often think to myself, why in the heck would I be the black sheep of my family? Because I am the black sheep. But I think a lot of spiritually awake people are
We
the
are.
we are, yeah. Because we're here changing the generational trauma.
Right.
So, because I wouldn't understand what I understand, I wouldn't be able to link up with the black sheep if I didn't understand what I understand. So, to the soul, this is a game. This is a virtual reality. It's a game. It's it's fun. To us, when we're having emotions, we're going through health stuff, we're having heartbreak. There's all kinds of things going on. We're thinking, well, how could this be fun? Because the soul doesn't look at it like the human does. There's two parts to you. There's a soul part of you and there's a human part of you. Obviously, the human part is very temporary. It's the avatar. So then you've got the soul part of you that's the infinite being that's never going to, has ever perished and never will. So it's really tuning in, tapping into that soul part of you and learning to listen to that. And that's what a lot of this conversation is about. So I use a lot of different tools to be able to figure out what's going on. And then NLP, neuro linguistic programming, which really is being able to tap into the subconscious mind through body language, like the FBI uses it to be able to tell what's going on with somebody. Are they lying? And it's not like I'm sitting here and being like, oh, I'm going to see if they're lying like the FBI might be doing to solve a case. It's more about, are they lying to themselves? Can I read body language when I ask a question that maybe they're telling themselves something that is not true? Or that are they continuing to keep themselves in a pattern because they believe that? So we need to remove that. So it's things like that. Then we look at chakras. Okay. If, a lot of women, when they talk about things, men too, when they talk about things that relate to some sort of trauma, they will touch their throat or they'll play with
Mm.
their necklace or they'll play with their shirt or they'll play with their hair. Well, you know that there's some sort of throat blockage there. It's some sort of communication where they probably their communication was suppressed or is being suppressed. Or if you have a lot of headaches, okay, what's going on? What are you blocking from your higher self?
It could be ancestral,
Yes.
right? I was thinking when you're talking about women's and their throat, it could be something from a previous lifetime also.
Absolutely. As
Yeah.
well as low back pain ancestral too, because
Right.
the root chakra and the sacral are both going to relate to ancestral.
Yeah.
Somebody that has a lot of parasites, that could be what's going on, what's taking over your confidence. Because the
Mm.
solar plexus is all about confidence, earthly intuition. What are you allowing to take over you? What are you allowing to take your power away?
Right.
And that could be the throat chakra as well. It could be any of the chakras actually, when we're talking about power, but specifically the personal power, which is the solar plexus. So you can really start digging in using a lot of different philosophies if you just know how to do it. And I've just been researching and learning, and some of it's been through, obviously through other mentors and teachers, through books. But also, I would learn things, I would be guided to learn something. So then spirit can communicate with me in a way that I'll understand. Because understanding the one thing about communication with spirit is that, and spirit, I'm really talking about just the universe, like it's all the same thing, that it's going to communicate with you how you're going to understand. So if you're being guided to a book, like Rose's book, or you're being guided to a podcast, or anything that you feel drawn to, there's a reason why, because spirit is saying, look, you need to know this so then I can give you information because you're asking for more. You're asking for higher level of understanding of the universe, of yourself, your higher self. How can I communicate these messages to you if you can't have the groundwork here of what I'm trying to get you to understand? So listen to those messages. That's another way. It's paying
I
attention
love,
to what you're being guided to.
I love that. I recently, this is fascinating. First of all, everybody that practices some sort of healing, doctor or anybody should know all of these things that you mentioned, human design, astrology, because they all make sense. They all are like this roadmap, like you said, like this book about the person. And you can really dive deep into what's going on with them. But I was recently drawn, I've loved astrology for a long time, but never could quite get the system together and figure it out. So I'm taking a class, and now all of a sudden I'm starting to understand the language and all these timing tools and all these things, and understanding why I'm here doing what I'm doing at this time in my life. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the time I'm supposed to do certain things. It's fascinating. Wow,
Yeah.
that's great. Can I share with you my spirit baby story? I know
Yes,
I don't
yes.
know if you've heard this. I don't think I told you this when we talked, but I know my listeners have heard this before. But I was single, and it was years before I met my husband, and very many years after my mom passed. And I was having a Reiki session, my very first Reiki session, which is energy work, and I'm blocking energy. And I'm very intuitive. I was born that way as well, as yourself. And during this session, when you're in this kind of like semi-conscious state, I saw my mom come down from heaven, and she opened her hands up and showed me two baby bottles. So I was like, okay, I knew I was going to have twins, right? So that was my sign. And I wasn't with anyone at the time. It was years before I met my husband. So I met my husband, and, I used to tell him, I'm going to have twins. And I knew it in my heart. I was like, I'm going to have twins. And even the night before so I got pregnant, and yes, twins. And then even the night before the amnio, when you get to know the sex of
Yeah.
the babies, I was in a room, and my mom was with me, and she showed me a screen, and she showed me boys. So then I had boys, so identical twin boys, actually.
Oh, wow. Wow. I thought they were girls.
No, I have two boys.
Two
Yeah,
boys.
yeah. So that's my spirit baby story.
I love that. That's so, yeah, I can see it. And I'm hearing fur babies. Someone keeps saying fur
I
babies.
wonder why. I don't know.
Did you have dogs or cats while
Oh
you
my
were?
God, I had yes, my first child was Buddy. Yes, my dog. Yeah, he was my first baby, actually, even
Okay.
before I met my husband. I had a,
Did you identify him as your child?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Was he brown?
yes,
Yeah. He looks
yeah,
like a kind of like a teddy bear.
yes, he's a pug.
He was a pug? I have a pug.
No way.
Yes, his name's Harley.
Oh my gosh, mine was Buddy, and he was my first
Buddy.
baby, and he's still, even in spirit, he's always, always near me. Spirit shows up in many, many forms,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Oh,
love that.
absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thanks for sharing that.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for sharing that you have a pug. I love that connection between us. It's great. So tell us more about either your work or what's coming up for you, how people can, or if there's anything else that you really wanted to share that we haven't talked about. Uh, you can, talk about anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's important to thank you. I think what's important to share is that I want everyone listening to this to know that you're not crazy. Know that everything that's going on in the world right now, just try to stay really focused on your internal world because that's really what the universe wants you to do. Okay. Not focus on all the stuff that's going on that's crazy with the world. I don't even know. I don't even pay attention to it, but yeah, it's I know that there's people that still do, and I will come across different clients and things and they'll talk about it. And I say to them, I just don't have any idea what's going on. I don't know about politics. I don't know. I just choose to stay away from it. And you feel so much better.
I
You
agree.
really, yeah, you really do. And I just want people to, even if you and I, anyone listening to this, we never talk, you just listen to this episode. I'm here to just help people to understand that you got to stay focused on what's inside. Stay focused on yourself. If you want to change the world, focus on your own energy. That's how you're going to change it. So, yeah, it's just I think when I was waking up that I just felt so alone because it was kind of happening before this massive shift that's been happening since 2020. And I was so scared to talk about it. I started channeling ETs, extraterrestrials, and how do you tell people that? Oh, by the way, I communicate with the Arcturians or the Mantis beings, or if anyone listening to this knows about ETs. Um, it's like, and now I'm just like, I don't mind talking about it at all. I love it. I know they
Yeah.
exist, like, and there's a lot of people that believe it now, but there wasn't, before 2020. People weren't really into that. They thought it was weird.
I feel like I've been communicating with them for a very, very long time, but now it's finally we're comfortable saying that we can, right? That
Yes.
we can communicate with them. I agree with you. And I'm like your mom who has all these people come to her in her dreams. So
Really?
yeah, so
Okay.
I live almost another life in my dreams and it's crazy. So so
Wow.
be open to the way people or spirit or outer beings are communicating with you. Don't be afraid. And they're all part of your personal evolution.
Exactly. And that's the other thing too. I'm glad you bring this up because I want to say too that anyone that's developing and unlocking their abilities, don't compare yourself to other people. Because I did that for years. I thought, well, I can't be an intuitive medium or psychic medium because I don't see things like my mom. There's all different kinds of mediums.
Right.
And we all have different abilities. And there's a reason for that because my belief is that we're all God. We're just pieces of God experiencing itself in the version of the uniqueness of what we are. We're designed uniquely because of what we're meant to share. And so if we're trying to compare that, oh, I need to be like this or this person, or if I'm not like that, then I must not be a medium. It's
Right.
not true. Or, there's a difference between being psychic and medium. But people experience things all different.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful, just like we look different. I mean, there's people I'm sure you've met somebody that looks similar to you. I know that I have,
Yep.
which is interesting.
Yeah.
But, I want people to be so comfortable. with how they're designed and shine it so bright. Because we need your light, we need your uniqueness and what
Yes.
you're here for. And that if you're not being who you authentically are, you're not serving the collective.
Yeah. And you
Like you
feel
gotta
it
be
too.
you.
You feel
Yes.
when you're not in alignment with who you are and you're
Right.
just not you're not doing it. You don't feel right. And then everything around you in your world doesn't fall into place. I
Mhm.
believe that. Once you start walking your walk or in alignment with your path and how you need to show up, everything falls into place.
Yep.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Powerful.
so you work with people. Do you work with people virtually as well?
Yes, most of my clients are virtual. I have
Great.
a very part-time practice in Denver, Colorado, where I do see some acupuncture and some hypnotherapy. I'm a licensed, or not licensed, certified, I should say, hypnotherapist as well. And so, but most of my clientele is all over the world, and virtual is just as good. People will ask that often. Well, how can virtual be so good? Because when we have an energetic connection, that's all that's important. That's all that matters.
Great. Great. So how can people get in touch with you, Lindsay?
So you can find me on my website, which is garnetmoonlove.com. If you are someone looking for fertility support, my website's fertilefrequencies.com. I do have two podcasts, Intuitive Mind Lab Radio, as well as Fertile Frequencies. And so you can find both of those. I try to be on social media, but I'm really not a huge fan of social media, but I try to post as much as I can. So if you are looking to connect, definitely shoot over an email, check out my podcast. That's usually the best way to get in touch with me. And I love hearing from people. So reach out.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for being here. Your
Yeah. Thank
energy is
you, Rose.
amazing, and thank you for the work that you're doing to help people align with their own personal power
Thank
and their
you.
spirit babies. Thank you.
Thank you so much.